Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mutahar, and today we have the Some Ordinary Podcast, Episode 1, with my beautiful co-hosts, Nux Taku and Oompaville. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Up? Hell yeah, I'm excited.
Same.
Hello there, welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff happening in the VTuber world. And today we talk about the VTuber NuxTaku as he gets cancelled for the silliest reasons.
People want me
Podcast is done, yeah. Podcast is done now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the podcast is over. We are not filming the last episode. It's over. This whole situation, I would have to really look into more of his involvement. Like I said, he would obviously have known about the Shadman lore, so there is no, at least belief for me, that he did not know about the child drawing stuff.
Because it's beneficial to say it now, but when it was more beneficial to have a connection, it was matey. Do you know what I mean? Dude, this NuxTaku guy just comes across as this little wretched freak.
NuxTaku has a long legacy on the internet. He's one of the OGs in the anitubing space. If you watch anime content on YouTube, you probably know who NuxTaku is. Back then, he used to make tons of anime-related content, and these days he has shifted into a type of content where he usually collabs with other VTubers and content creators. He also does a lot of reacts. So what is NuxTaku getting cancelled for? To understand, we need to talk about Mr. Beast's recent controversy. So what happened was Mr. Beast got involved in some controversy. This is one of Mr. Beast's friends, Chris Tyson. He appears in Mr. Beast's videos very often. He was there since the beginning of the Mr. Beast channel. And what happened was Chris got into some controversy where people started accusing him of acting inappropriately in front of minors back in the distant past. Some of the minors who Chris talked to back in the past would come out to accuse him of certain things. And then we had the Discord leaks where Chris admitted to liking certain artworks made by an artist called Shadman. Shadman is a very controversial figure because he draws pedophile illustrations. Chris was caught sharing the Shadman website with some minors, and this got a lot of people very, very upset. Mr. Beast was basically forced to respond to the allegations because Chris Tyson is a longtime friend of Mr. Beast, is strongly associated with the Mr. Beast channel, so anything bad happening to Chris Tyson reflects badly on Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast would then put out a statement publicly condemning his old friend, Ava, saying that he was disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable acts. Mr. Beast would also say he had taken immediate action to remove Ava from the company, his channel, and any association with Mr. Beast. So what does all of this have to do with NuxTaku getting cancelled? After all, Mr. Beast and NuxTaku never talk to one another. We have never seen them together. Well, the thing is, after Mr. Beast got called out, a lot of people started looking across the internet to see if there were other people who had interacted or liked Shadman's art in the past. Based on their logic, Shadman was a horrible person who drew illustrations that were basically child porn. So anyone who associated with him were basically evil. And some internet users figured out that NuxTaku used to interact with Shadman in the past, and that was enough to cancel him somehow. At the time, NuxTaku was calling out Chris Tyson's behavior as well, saying they're not like us, which then led people making an attempt to contradict Nux by posting some clips where NuxTaku was talking about Shadman in the past. We had more and more people accusing NuxTaku of being friends with Shadman and therefore he's somehow evil. Then we had other people like Jake accusing NuxTaku of being a pedophile. This forced NuxTaku to try to defend himself, with NuxTaku saying Shadman DM'd me weird shit out of the blue and I made fun of him for it many times in videos and on the podcast as seen in the clip. I've never commissioned, promoted, or been friends with him, and I've never hidden that fact. Framing this as a relationship is very disingenuous. Now I'm going to show you the clips that NuxTaku is defending himself against.
So Shadman takes lolly shit to another level. So Shadman is a Nazi-ish, pedophile-ish fellow. Shadman didn't just draw lolly porn. Shadman drew lolly porn of real-life people. Like, Keemstar's 10-year-old daughter got drawn by this guy in sexual art. And that is fucked up. That is insanely fucked up. Holy shit. Now, Keemstar is my best friend, which is why I'm extra mortified about all of this. Oh, God, I don't want to know how Chris was associated with this guy. There's some So, I was talking to Shadman. It's a weird Yeah, and
That's a way to start a sentence.
That's a way to start a sentence. And he has some interesting takes on Gardevoir.
He can keep them. I don't think I need to hear them.
Yeah, they're weird. Dude, honestly, it was the weirdest conversation I've ever had in my life. Like through DMs. I didn't speak to him like voice, but it was the weirdest conversation I've ever had in my life.
I don't think you could have a normal conversation with a guy like Shadman.
Oh my lord, Shadman. Oh my god. I'm scrolling through the DMs. There are a few things that he said that were interesting. And he also says each word in like a different message.
Oh, he's one of those
multiple text spells. Oh my god, me neither. Games are too corny. Sure, it's good, but games are just corny to me. So I'm not a gamer. I'm like Sans, because I spent 11 hours beating him on stream when I was younger. Point is, hereditary means passed down from generations. Genetical memory, instinct. You dig? Then why accident if you exist? You're not perfect, but you exist. Why call it an accident? Hentai is ugly to me.
This is like a fucking like dream journal.
He actually said all of this.
This reads like some shit you wake up at 3 a.m. because you like have an idea you need to put down, and then you look at it the next day, you're like, how the fuck did this come out my hands?
Right, I don't know.
Is there
for those of you that are unaware, Shadman is a person that draws a lot of, well, I would say hentai, but when I said, hey, I've seen your hentai, he was like, I don't draw hentai. I draw digital porn that has slight, there is slight, inspiration that he takes from hentai.
Moving on, we also had NuxTaku defending himself against people calling him a liar. Nux would say, people saying I'm a liar because of these tweets, aside from not knowing about the extent of his shit then, referring to Shadman, I'd collab with all sorts of scum. Most of my collabs are trolling and I was gonna grill him. I'd interview EDP. I never commissioned, promoted, nor was I friends with him. And these were the Twitter conversations that NuxTaku had with Shadman, which people are using to cancel him. We had Shadman saying, a bit too middle school. NuxTaku responded, want a collab? Shadman responded, Lamau, no, but your heart's in the right place. NuxTaku would say, understandable, have a nice day. I'm here when you come around. Nux would go on to say, I'll probably talk about this in more depth on stream when I'm back from my vacation, and give up trying to make sense on this app, Lamau. Jesus could come back to life and he'd get cancelled for taking too long. We had some fans of NuxTaku showing their support, with Leafy saying, not gonna lie, it's annoying seeing people just shoot at random creators for mentioning someone's name in the past. Another NuxTaku fan, Amelia, would say, the unfortunate reality here is that it doesn't matter what you or any of the other creators say about this situation, this is a witch hunt, and they couldn't care less about how wrong they might be. This was never about upholding the very sense of virtue they seemed to preach. There were also some fans who were asking if the podcast was really over. That fan was obviously referring to the Some Ordinary podcast, which NuxTaku is a part of. The Some Ordinary podcast is made out of 3 people. We have Mutahar, Some Ordinary Gamers, we have Oompaville, and we have NuxTaku as the 3rd co-host of Some Ordinary Podcast. But not anymore. A lot of fans are going to be upset about this because NuxTaku has been kicked out of the podcast and the podcast is over. Mutahar confirmed it himself during an interview with another YouTuber. We had a YouTuber called ChatLogic confronting Mutahar regarding the NuxTaku Shadman allegations. This brown JPEG over here is basically Mutahar. You can see Mutahar has a very, very small JPEG. You can't see it, but it's him. This is the same guy that NuxTaku has on his profile image, by the way. So have a listen.
I'll just ask you something, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm hearing and seeing a lot of rumors and criticism of NuxTaku for his connection to Shadman that many are saying he's trying to disassociate himself from now because it's controversial. Do you have any perspectives or takes on that?
I haven't followed anything on it. I did have a call with him, and he did tell me like they interacted before. I think it was like the collab shit. Okay. And from just like behind the scenes, he told me that this was all like a fucking joke or something at the time, which is like I never pressed so hard into that just because I have no knowledge of like how far his relationship goes. All I know about Shadman is like the last 6 days. There's been a fucking mega leak of everyone's interactions, like Elvis the Alien, Nux, everyone. So it's like, I don't know the extent of it, but obviously it's a disavowal if he ever obviously wanted to collaborate with him in a meaningful way or like defend him or something, you know?
Yeah, sure. And, obviously, I don't want to super hardcore hold you to account for someone else's actions.
And I also just want to say I don't ever would believe that Nux would have no idea about the Shadman child lolly drawing stuff. Like that would make no fucking sense. He's been in this space long enough to know better.
Sure.
So if this was like a genuine interaction, like I have no doubt as somebody that is in the anime culture to not fucking have any clue that Shadman was doing crazy shit. Like you'd have no. If I knew that Shadman was drawing fucking kids and doing crazy shit, Nux definitely did, and that's never okay.
Okay. Are you going to keep him off the podcast?
No, we would cancel the podcast. It's not happening. The podcast is done.
This is hard because obviously people want me
podcast is done. Yeah, podcast is done now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the podcast is over. We are not filming the last episode. It's over.
Is that are you serious?
Yeah, we're not doing the podcast anymore. It's done.
Why?
We're supposed to film on Tuesday. Well, there's a couple reasons for it. A lot of that was obviously some of the Shad stuff too, because we were kind of sitting there. We're like, me and Caleb, we were just like, this is, I don't know, it's weird. The other thing was we just want to redo things, maybe like 2 months down the road or something, between each other, and that's kind of where we're at. Hey everybody, Muta here, and I just wanted to make it as clear as possible. This podcast is not over because of Nux and his situation currently. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple days ago at this point, I was on a podcast, or not a podcast, but I was on a live stream with a creator known as Chud Logic, and I wasn't exactly clear as to the ending of the podcast, which really is an ending. Let me be more clear with you. The timing of this is actually purely coincidental. Like, you haven't noticed the weekly podcast, some of the episodes might have been a little bit phoned in. There was a lot of rambling. So me and Caleb and Nux have basically decided that it's better to restructure the podcast, basically have ownership ourselves, and to the point of actually making a set so we do more IRL stuff, try to figure out how to get Nux on the entire show, being the fact that he lives in an NFT land and an NFT world, so to get him onto the actual podcast is another challenge itself. So it's really something where we're taking some time to stop the podcast, restructure, and possibly rebrand it and get the ownership directly under all three of us, which is something we didn't necessarily have with the Some Ordinary podcast. So I hope that clears things up. The timing was purely coincidental, and obviously I would love to work with Nux and Caleb. I'm going to leave it right back to my friend Nux.
So yeah, the Some Ordinary podcast is over, which is a pity because some of the podcast's most popular videos involve NuxTaku himself. Look at this. NuxTaku, 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 and NuxTaku. NuxTaku was basically there at the very beginning of the Some Ordinary podcast. You can see he was there since 2 years ago, so a lot of fans are upset.
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mutahar, and today we have the Some Ordinary podcast, episode 1, with my beautiful co-hosts NuxTaku and Oompaville. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Up? Hell yeah, I'm excited.
Same.
Wow, that really rolled off the tongue. Wow.
I don't know, man. We only had one take for our intros, okay?
I only had one take too, but you know who else can bring the splendor and the joy is our good friend Charlie, aka Moist Critical, aka the man with a billion dildos at his house. Feel free to introduce yourself, my man.
Hey everyone, yeah, I'm that guy with an absurd amount of dildos.
We now have more NuxTaku content, with the VTuber trying to clarify his stance regarding Shadman. We have the user Laric here, offering a good faith question to NuxTaku, hoping that he would clarify. Laric would ask, so you didn't know the extent of his shit then, but were you going to grill him at the same time? If you did get that collab, what would you grill Shad on? From what I remember, he was known as the guy who drew minors sexually. You didn't know that? NuxTaku would respond saying, the rare good faith question. I knew about the lolly stuff and some of his art, like the bestiality with fictional children, etc. Definitely enough to grill the guy. I didn't know about Keemstar's daughter. I do feel like that's the less important part of my tweet though. Laric would say, appreciate the reply. If you have a history of doing many collabs for the sole purpose of trolling them, then I think this is fair. But I was not gonna lie at first saying, I was just asking for a collab as an epic troll meme. Looks kinda bad lol. But if that's what you've done before, then it's believable. NuxTaku would then respond by saying, I collabed with an anime voice actor to show him terrible dubs, but they were all his own work. I collabed with the producer of One Piece live action to show him lots of terrible live action adaptations and prove why I thought his One Piece would suck off the top of my head. Aside from NuxTaku trying to defend himself, we also have Gator. And this guy is trying to defend NuxTaku as well. I know Gator from the time when he basically kickstarted the hashtag #WhereSell movement. Appreciate that, Gator. So this is what Gator had to say. Gator would try to protect NuxTaku by criticizing Keemstar, someone who is spreading the word regarding the Chris Tyson story. Gator would say, why did you falsely defame people that went after Shadman like NuxTaku and insinuated they supported the disgusting thing he did to your family? You can't have it both ways. Guilt by association is a double-edged sword. You owe a lot of them an apology. Keemstar would reply to Gator saying, keep that energy. Keemstar would also share these screenshots of the YouTube drama subreddit. People there were accusing NuxTaku of interacting with Shadman, saying he used a censored picture from Shadman's porn comic of Arya Stark, played by a child actor for GOT for a thumbnail. The YouTube drama subreddit also provided screenshots of the Twitter conversation between Shadman and NuxTaku. Keemstar posted this obviously to say that NuxTaku was in the wrong. And remember, Keemstar's daughter was the one who was sexualized by Shadman, so he is basically one of the victim's fathers here. Gator would try to defend NuxTaku by saying, and he explained it here, Mutahar is friends with Nux. Are you going to go after him next? Where does the guilt by very loose association end? Gator also provided a tweet of NuxTaku explaining himself. The situation has gotten worse for NuxTaku as some drama tubers are saying it's all over for him. They're making videos like this one, saying that NuxTaku was kicked out of the Some Ordinary podcast. You know, I think it's sad that NuxTaku would get cancelled like this simply because he was quote-unquote talking with Shadman. I used to watch NuxTaku back in the day. Unfortunately, his content changed quite a bit, so I eventually gradually just stopped watching him. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. I think he's gonna bounce back. I think the real reason why NuxTaku is getting cancelled right now is because the MrBeast controversy was so large, it spilled downwards to other creators like Nux. MrBeast is a very large YouTuber, hundreds of millions of subscribers, hundreds of millions of views on his YouTube videos. And I think if you're that large of a creator, if you get into controversy, or if someone close to you or close to the channel gets into controversy, everyone is going to make expose videos about you because you are basically the face of YouTube. People only started to get angry at NuxTaku or being associated with Shadman after the MrBeast controversy, after more people started looking for evidence that NuxTaku was supposed to be bad or something. Most of the tweets and the quote-unquote evidence and clips that were shown have been there for years. And I think the reason why they're all being complained about now is because there's so much hate going around that it just spreads into other YouTube communities like NuxTaku's community. I think overall NuxTaku is going to be fine after this. He'll probably take a hit in views and subs as more people hate him now. But as a content creator, I think he will remain on YouTube because he's such an old creator right now. He's one of the OGs. By the way, NuxTaku hasn't responded completely to the situation yet. He has responded a little, but right now he's on vacation, so I expect to hear more from him after he comes back. But what do you think? Do you think NuxTaku is innocent or do you think he's guilty? Comment down below. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Harry Nebula signing out.